Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Palace, the Madeleine Palace. Welcome to our seminar on public diplomacy and cultural cities, shared experiences between the city of Santander and the United Arab Emirates. I would like to first thank the City of Santander, its council, for allowing us to organize this day together with José María Peredo, who's professor at the European University. And I would also like to obviously thank the Culture Department in the Council of Santander, together with the Lady Mayor, who's here with us today. They've made this meeting, this event, possible. There's no doubt that the city of Santander has cultural assets which are gigantic, I would say. And we visited the Botín Center yesterday, the La Fuente Archives, the Reina Sofía Museum. There are so many different reasons why the city of Santander is a benchmark for culture, not just in Spain, but worldwide. That's why I would like to also thank, obviously, Mr. Majid Al Suwaidi, His Excellency, the Ambassador of the United Arab Emirates to Spain. He had a number of meetings yesterday. He visited the Wind Power Institute in Santander, which I must say we were really impressed at what we saw, the level of research they carry out there. And I would say that the city of Santander can be said to be a city that is located in a beautiful, picturesque site with mountains and the sea, with sports like golf and sailing. Yesterday we visited the Pedreña golf course as well, and we heard about the Ballesteros family initiative. Well, they allowed us to visit their trophy room, which not many people have done. So, just a few details to give you an idea of why Santander is becoming more and more, not just in Spain, but as I said, worldwide, a benchmark for its culture, for its industrial capacity, for sports, for high dining and gastronomy. Now, let me tell you about the magazine I direct, Atalayar, which is all about bridging the gaps and connecting Europe and the Arab world, the Middle East, North Africa, Africa in general, Latin America. And we are doing so from this watchtower, this vantage point, because we understand that understanding is key. Understanding so that we can come to agreements and a consensus, just like the United Arab Emirates proved recently in their peace treaty with Israel, which was recently signed. Again, that's a very bright initiative led by the United Arab Emirates. Our magazine, Atalayar, our websites in the different languages, our social media, Capital Radio, our radio program, our participation and organization of events such as this one today. All of that is what we try to do to bridge the gaps, to build bridges between what happens here and over there. Again, understanding amongst countries is the key to a successful future of peaceful coexistence, and even more so at a time like now with the COVID pandemic. I should also say that the United Arab Emirates has sent humanitarian and healthcare aid to so many countries, so that countries from all over the place, whether it's Iran or Cuba or Spain, that's been their contribution to the COVID-19 pandemic. And again, that's what we should all do. We should all join hands and push in the same direction. An event such as this one today is, again, proof of solidarity, of how we can overcome this terrible pandemic that is hurting us all so much. That's all from me. I will just close by thanking once again all the institutions, Jose Maria Peredo and all his hard work, and I will also close my address with a reminder, reminding you all that we are now being heard by, who knows, thousands of people who are following us on streaming over the internet. Now we will hear from Mr. Javier Ceruti, Councillor for Culture in the City of Santander. Thank you so much, Javier. I would like to obviously thank you for all the hard work to organize this day. Obviously, I would like to thank His Excellency, the Ambassador, for his presence here today. I can tell you that my younger sister was in your country for 5 years, and she holds very fond memories of that time with you. It's just an example of how cultures that are very far away, but at the same time so close, can build bridges amongst people. Santander, the region of Cantabria, and Spain can use this excuse, shall we say, culture, to improve our contact between the two countries. That's all I wanted to say. I just want to leave the time to all the participants today, and I hope this is the beginning of a very close relationship. Thank you. Thank you so much, Javier Ceruti. I would also like to remind you that Enrique Bolado has done a lot to make this meeting possible. And now, Mr. Ambassador, the floor is all yours.
The opportunity to be here today in Santander. The weather is beautiful, and I've had such a wonderful experience while I've been here. I want to thank Her Excellency Gema Igual, Mayor of Santander, and the City Council of Santander, as well as Atalayar, of course, Javier, and Jose Maria Peredo, for all their support in this event. And I want to thank you for the great welcome I've received and for organizing this event, which gives me the opportunity to tell you about my country and in particular our effort to develop a creative economy. And culture has become so important in our lives, and I'd like to share some of our experience in the UAE. Today, the relationship between the UAE and Spain is the best that it has ever been and continues to grow from strength to strength. Even though our countries are thousands of miles apart, I continue to be amazed at how much we have in common, and the shared values between our two nations are clear to me. Our two countries are youthful, dynamic, and home to buzzing cultural communities and remarkable artistic institutions, and most importantly, to tolerant and open-minded societies. In my visit over the last 2 days, I have been impressed by the depth of cultural activity in Santander and the opportunity for collaboration between cities like Santander and the UAE. Ladies and gentlemen, if there are 3 points that I'd like you to take home today from my speech, It's first that the UAE is a modern, open, and moderate country that embraces diversity, and that these values shape our culture, our traditions, our vision, and in making the UAE a global melting pot of cultures and nationalities and people. And lastly, I would like you to take away that culture and creativity are at the heart of our past, but also they are the stepping stone to our future. It was not long ago in the UAE that pearl diving was one of the main economic activities in our country. And one day the Japanese invented the artificial pearl. This meant that overnight, a major industry disappeared and a generation of people, including my own grandfather, saw firsthand how they were dependent on a natural resource that was taken away by technological change. Just like how the Stone Age didn't end because of a lack of stones, for us the pearl trade didn't end because of a lack of pearls, but because of a technological change. So when our country was blessed by the discovery of oil and gas, our leadership had first-hand experience that led them to understand they had to prepare for the future. It goes without saying that when they discovered oil and gas, it completely reshaped our economy. But what is most important is what those wise leaders, our wise leadership has done with that discovery. Our founding father, His Highness Sheikh Zayed bin Sultan Al Nahyan, invested in the people of our country and set a vision for us of a modern, advanced society, which I'm proud to say is continued and advanced by our leadership today. Today, the UAE represents a new vision for the Middle East region, a future-oriented model that empowers women, embraces diversity, encourages innovation, and welcomes global engagement. These values have become intrinsic in our society and our youth, and they will lead us in shaping the UAE over the next 50 years. Some people don't know that the UAE is about 9.89 million people, residents, 80% of whom are expats. The UAE is an international microcosm in itself, making us a singular country in our region. We're proud to host more than 200 nationalities who coexist peacefully in our country. It makes us an incubator for tolerance, openness, moderation, and mutual understanding between citizens from different backgrounds and different cultures. In 2019, we're proud to host His Holiness the Pope Francis to our region in the first visit of its kind of our region, and we have people of all faiths living in the UAE today in peace and harmony. But our leadership also recognizes that this is a work in progress, as shown by the creation of a Minister of Tolerance and even a Minister of Happiness, which we look to promote a higher standard of living and look us to ensure that the quality of life of our citizens is not just measured in economic terms, but in a holistic manner that seeks their overall happiness. This year, the UAE is approaching our 50th anniversary, and for that matter, 2020 is a very special year for us. It certainly is being one of the most difficult and tragic years that we have lived, but also marks our preparation for the UAE's Golden Jubilee in 2021. Our government, citizens, residents, and the private sector are all coming together to formulate the initiatives that will shape the UAE for the next 50 years. We will work on our health, education, technology, housing, transport, and food security, but we will also ensure that the UAE is a global pioneer in sustainable development and international cooperation towards 2071. We will work tirelessly to build a bright future for the generation of Emiratis to come, but also for the benefit of the global community that has helped us to shape what our country is today. We're a young country, but our values and strategic visions have allowed us to grow remarkably, guided by the late Sheikh Zayed's vision. We embarked on a journey that has taken us from oil and gas-based economy to a diversified knowledge economy. Today, 70% of our economy is based on non-oil and gas sectors, an amazing achievement for the 6th largest exporter in the world, And by 2021, this figure is expected to rise to 80%. We have spared no effort in attaining a diverse, inclusive society that reflects our values, and the same can be said about our economic efforts. As a matter of fact, our economic diversification is just another part of our wonderful story of development as our country and as society. In less than 50 years, the UAE has managed to become the main trade business hub in the Middle East, all the while becoming one of the most attractive recipients of foreign direct investment in the world. Currently, we sit 16th in the World Bank's Doing Business ranking, and that can only be achieved by being a welcoming, attractive country for our friends from around the world. We are leading by example in the fields of renewable energy, artificial intelligence, information technology, biotechnology and food production, and processing, education, and transportation. However, none of that would have been possible without being open to collaborating and befriending international partners. Our cities proudly showcase the traditions and values that have shaped us, but they also show the remarkable culture of our friends from around the world. Our museums, galleries, and events show what we are, but also how we are shaping the art and traditions of those who come to join us. Last year, Abu Dhabi was recognized as the second top cultural city in the world by Skyscanner, the popular travel website. As a matter of fact, Abu Dhabi is home to some of the most relevant artistic centers in our region, such as the Louvre Abu Dhabi Museum, and which will soon be joined by the Guggenheim Abu Dhabi and the Sheikh Zayed National Museum. Abu Dhabi is buzzing with culture and our history and has been recognized by UNESCO, which named the city of Al Ain a World Heritage Site. The Emirate of Abu Dhabi has always strived for the promotion and protection of its cultural, historic heritage, enshrining this priority within the Emirate's vision. However, cultural initiatives are thriving all around our country, and the Emirates of Sharjah, Dubai are also fundamental in the promotion of our culture. As a matter of fact, Sharjah was chosen as the World Book Capital in 2019 due to the city's innovative, comprehensive, and inclusive initiatives and their community-focused active programs. And I know that Spain is going to be very active in that book fair. Sharjah is also host of the Sharjah International Book Fair, one of the largest book fairs in the world and the most prestigious in the Arab world and the most exciting literary event in the region. And I've been very excited by our discussions here in Santander about trying to work with the archive here of books in Santander, and we've had a fantastic discussion about that today. Furthermore, Dubai will hold the world's greatest springboard economic and cultural terms next year, the Expo Dubai, which will showcase the best that the UAE and the global community have to offer. And if you haven't seen it already, the Spain Pavilion is one of the best pavilions at the Expo and is in the best location. And so if you get the chance, please go online and look to see the Spanish Pavilion and the great effort that Spain is giving for the Expo 2021. Expo, which was delayed until next year due to COVID pandemic, will hopefully leave a mark after 6 months, over the 6 months that it will last. Among other aspects, we believe it will reinforce and bolster the role of the creative economy in our path to diversification, all the while enriching our culture and our cities. It will provide a springboard for globally known artists to showcase their work, but also for young artists coming from our country and other parts of the globe. Our country provides unparalleled opportunities and a buzzing landscape to professionals from all fields: music, arts, visual arts, graphic design, content creation, design, music, or fashion. The relentless support given by UAE authorities to the development of creative industry has yielded many results thus far, but the best is always yet to come. In 2009, the UAE became the first nation from our region to have permanent pavilion at the International Art Biennale exhibition in Venice, Italy. And certainly institutions such as the Louvre Abu Dhabi are playing a crucial role in enriching our country's art scene and transforming it to become a regional reference, but there's still so much more going on. Nowadays, Emirati designers like Khalid Shafar, Alajud Luta, and filmmakers like Nadia Khaja are all well-known artists worldwide. Our country has two attracting poles of the content creation industry, namely Dubai Media City and 2454, which are companies from creative industries, or where creative industries can develop their business under an environment that promotes and encourages the creative sector. Dubai, a melting pot of cultures and nationalities, is rapidly becoming one of the most important cities for designers, thanks to the establishment of the Dubai Design District. And the Abu Dhabi Festival brings together on a yearly basis the most reputed musicians and orchestras from around the world. The support given by our government to all of these initiatives only demonstrates how there is a clear link between economic diversification and the promotion, protection, and development of our cultural initiatives. As the ambassador of the UAE to Spain, I've had the privilege of visiting and engaging with the representatives of institutions like the Prado Museum, the Centro Botín, and I'm certain that many opportunities can arise for collaboration and partnership with UAE-based artists and cultural centers. Lastly, at the beginning of my speech, I told that the UAE is a modern, open, moderate, and diverse Muslim country, and that is fully invested in bringing happiness and prosperity to our citizens and the global community as a whole. These days in Santander have taught me how much our cities have a lot to offer. And I am enthusiastic to see Emirati artists showcasing their work in your wonderful city, hopefully one day. And, of course, to see Santander being showcased in the UAE. Our country will keep working to empower youth and strengthen our thriving creative industries. And I can only celebrate that Santander is working hard to do the same in this really beautiful region. It is undeniable that sharing culture that has shaped our cities and countries is perhaps the most enriching way to connect and meet each other. I know that I'm not the first Emirati citizen to come to Santander, but I do hope to be the first of many in the future. And I really believe that our shared values, our traditions, and culture will pave the way to see more of Santander in the UAE, and of course to see more of the UAE in Santander. I thank you all for giving me this chance to speak to you and to tell you about my country. And again, I really want to thank you and everybody here for the warm welcome I've had in this beautiful city. Thank you so much.
Muchas gracias, señor embajador.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ambassador. Now we will hear from the Lady Mayor, Gema Igual, the Lady Mayor of the City of Santander. Well, I would like to first greet the Ambassador, Majid Al Suwaidi. We've been practicing so that I could pronounce his name. And I want to thank him because what he said is so important. He's very right. This is the first time he's here in Santander, but I'm sure it won't be the last time. And I can tell you that during our conversation, we were saying how our two cultures are really, really similar in many ways. And we should make the most of that to network. The city of Santander is an active participant in a number of networks. And yet, this is such a great opportunity using that open door given by the embassy. Thank you, José María Peredo, Javier, Enrique Borado, and Javier Ceruti. Thank you all for helping us open this door, the embassy door, into the Emirates. I totally agree. The UAE is all about openness and diversification. And again, 2021, the Expo, the Dubai Expo, will be an excellent opportunity that we should make the most of so that we can continue to be in touch. I would also like to thank all of you who are following us over the internet through streaming. Because of the COVID pandemic, we don't have a room full of people. We're in a smaller room, and we don't want the COVID pandemic to be an excuse for us not to do the right thing for the United Arab Emirates, the UAE, and the city of Santander. We have done our best to explain to His Excellency, the Ambassador, what we are doing in the field of culture, because our city has made an effort for a long time in creative industries and culture. Tomorrow we will have a meeting with representatives of different means of communication, so they can also talk to the Hispanic, the UAE Hispanic Club, and hear about those initiatives. Again, the Council wants to be responsible for an event like this one today, for the meetings tomorrow, and for in future to continue to feed what is starting today. We are now just starting to find common points, and then we will have to continue to maintain and boost what is starting today. So that would be my message for you here today. Do your best to push forward with any ideas that you have. So again, the Dubai Expo will be another very important stopping station, but between now and then we will continue to be in touch. So welcome His Excellency the Ambassador and all your team. I would like to wish you all the best for the rest of this visit, and remind you that we have a lot of passion and expectations. We are very, very excited. I think excitement is very important at a time like this. And again, it's a great shame seeing that not many people are in this room, but thanks to all the wonderful people who thought about every single detail, many, many more people are following us over the internet, so that Santander continues to be international, more and more so. Thank you very much, and welcome, Mr. Ambassador, once again.
Muchas gracias, doña Gema.
Thank you so much, Gema Igual, Lady Mayor of the City of Santander. So, we have now the official opening for the seminar covered, and we are ready to start with the first roundtable session, where I'm sure we will hear plenty of ideas. So, let's change over to the next group for the roundtable session. We'll be back with you in 5 minutes with the first roundtable session. For those of you who are following us over the internet on streaming, again, it will only be 3 to 5 minutes for the roundtable session. Thank you.
días.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our seminar on diplomacy, public diplomacy and cultural cities, shared experiences, organized by Atalayar and the City Council of Santander. Welcome to Santander, both to those of you who are here in the room and those who are following us remotely on streaming. There's no doubt that if COVID allows me to say so, there's no doubt, I was saying, that both Santander and the region of Cantabria are immersed in a huge cultural process and project. Some of those resources and activities are ongoing, like the Botín Center, a real flagship, a real icon for our city, a meeting point for citizens of Santander, and full of activities. We also have the La Fuente Archives and associated center to the Queen Sophie Museum, one of the most important archives for culture and art in the 20th century. We also have the Prehistory Museum of Cantabria, that there is a very important project for its new headquarters, the Santander collection, and the project to turn the former Bank of Spain building into an art collection center, holding in future, hopefully, the different collections that the bank has been gathering historically. We also have the Modern and Contemporary Museum in Cantabria, MASC. The building is being refurbished now. We also have the Menéndez y Pelayo Library, or the exhibition center for the Enaire collection. Well, just a list of some of the main landmarks that we have in the city of Santander. There would be many others to be mentioned, many other resources connected with our universities, both in humanities and science, research, healthcare, all the different degree courses and different courses that are offered. Santander has a long-standing tradition dating back to the Altamira cave paintings, prehistoric paintings. We now have the music festival, the piano competition, so many other reasons why Santander is a thriving city for arts and culture. We also have a bit of a commonplace about the city of Santander, which is the beauty of its nature, but it's absolutely true. And also a very important offer for infrastructures where both public and private institutions and companies, the public sector, the private sector, have joined hands to make it possible. When I say public institutions, I don't just mean regional government, but also, or the local government, but also the national government, the European institutions, all of them doing their best to overcome economic barriers and difficulties. Our cultural project is the result of adding all those different resources with one common goal, so that what is offered in the field of education, in the management of the resources, works. Because this is a cultural project, but also to do with economy, society, city planning, cohesion. What I mean is that this is a political project, and I say political in the best possible sense, not meaning politics as in people who are there to continue to keep power in their hands, but rather politics as an activity that thinks of the good for us all, for us to be able to live in a knowledge society and in peaceful coexistence. That's just a brief introduction that I had prepared before I introduce you to the speakers in the roundtable session. We will first hear from Mr. Mohamed Alameri from the United Arab Emirates. He is the director of the Hispanic Emirati Club that promotes Spanish culture and language, and also cultural exchanges between both countries. Also remotely, we will hear from Mr. Luis Guerra, Professor of Spanish language at the European University in Madrid, where he directs the communications department. He has published a long list of pieces on Spanish language, lexicography, the mass media, and he is the lead researcher of the Immigra project for better integration of migrant population. I'm standing next to me here. We have Roberto Ruiz Sanchez, an anthropologist. He's a lecturer in social anthropology and history. He has worked at a long list of universities, not just in Spain, but in other countries, and he's now General Secretary of the European University of the Atlantic, the youngest university right now in our region, Cantabria. So, three different viewpoints that I'm sure will be very enriching for us all. We will first hear from Mr. Mohamed Alameri. Alameri, the floor is all yours.
Mohamed,
Mr. Alameri, can you hear us? It's your turn to speak. He's asking you to take part.
Hello, everyone. Could you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I hope all of you are safe and happy. And before I begin, I really want to appreciate and thank all of you, the organizer of this amazing seminar, that I believe it will end up with the great outcomes. I would go briefly in few main topics, and I will start about the importance and the effect of cultural diplomacy in converging communities together, as you said. There are many fragmentations between communities, mispresentation of cultural values and beliefs can contribute to risky behaviors from society, where it will generate cross-cultural misunderstanding, breaking trust, and causing disputes. Here we can observe how culture diplomacy is significant. The primary purpose of culture diplomacy is to help to build strong bonds between societies and strengthen the climate of international trust and understanding, where the culture values and its beauty get represented by representatives from different countries to sound their voice tolerantly with acceptance. And to be honest, a good example of what I just said is this collaborative online seminar where culture could be exchanged by letting participants share their culture experiences. And that will empower the connection among both countries in like Spain and UAE, which is already at its highest level of strength. And I believe that culture and art can achieve what politics cannot achieve. And that's obviously translated through the UAE's vision of participating in many activities in culture among different countries of the world, which end up by inspiring all the individuals in UAE as cultural diplomats. And I want to highlight a successful experience, which is Casa del Profesor, or the UAE Hispanic Club. It was an idea with short and long-term goals that got established in November 2019. And I remember we were a few people sitting at a table discussing how to apply the culture diplomacy and create educational contents of the community. And with a clear vision and mission, it turned to an excellent example of a cultural diplomacy. And it's mainly targeting the youth category in societies by gathering all the cultural voices through its activities, either in reality or virtually through social media. And the club's goal is to spread the culture of tolerance and coexistence and affirm these values through culture and scientific exchanges between UAE and Spain. Adding to that, establishing a bridge between UAE and Spain to facilitate the learning of language and culture. And happily, in the meantime, we have completed a full year with a big family that consists of thousands of members and followers, and with many outcomes and goals that were accomplished. With our administration's team, such as artists and singers, events team, and translation and audit also, where they assure all the outcomes is perfectly delivered with zero errors. By our teams, we have been organizing many Spanish cultural events and language learning courses for free. We have done many international relations for cooperation with us in sharing the tolerated culture material. We are glad to have more than 20 sponsors who believed in our goals, including big companies like Etihad Airlines and Thrifty Car Rental and many others. Adding to that, we started from zero relations. And today we have very strong bonds with our partners, such as our embassy in Spain and the Spanish embassy in UAE. Also, Zayed Central Library, which is under Dar al-Kutub sector at the Department of Culture and Tourism in Abu Dhabi. And also Atalayar, our lovely partner. And we understand that empowering the international audiences to participate actively in educational activities could be through the new digital culture content creation, So following this strategy, we have been creating contents through making educational, cultural, and language videos, such as promoting the Spanish dances, food, and Spain attractions, and sharing it among our members and followers. We also want to expose our culture to the Spanish community. So recently, we collaborated with the support of the Spanish Embassy in UAE to help in publishing research about Emirati dances that are called Razfa and Alaya by a Spanish researcher. So to be honest, many people were asking us why the Spanish language and culture. So this was a common question that has been asked to us a lot of time. First, let's see why the culture in general. Well, the culture is the basis for building a successful, strong society, and it helps in laying their cultural and social and knowledge foundations. As the greater the culture of the society, the more advanced and civilized it is. Adding to that, good culture exposure provides important social and economic benefits, and with sharing tolerance, of course, and opportunities of sharing knowledge. By doing all of that, culture will enhance our quality of life and increase overall well-being for both individuals and communities. Okay, but why the Spanish language and culture specifically? Okay, away from knowing that learning a new language can sharpen your mind, Spanish is the official language of most countries of the world and spoken by nearly 400 million people worldwide in Spain, Cuba, and Mexico, and many other countries. And it is second most widespread language in the world. So my point here is that by learning Spanish, you will be able to communicate with millions of Spanish speakers. And that will be very rewarding for those learners, as when it comes to travel or work in Spain or other Spanish-speaking countries, you will have good chances to have a bigger network of relations or expanding the opportunity of enhancing businesses, or even get more chances in finding new jobs, either in Spain or UAE. Also, more opportunities for exchanging students and researchers between the two countries, where that will end up by increasing beneficial researches that may solve common struggles between the two countries. I will end this point by highlighting that increasing the cultural awareness of the Spanish communities may also avoid the learner or the member in the club of being in a misunderstanding situation. And I will end up all my points by talking about the impact of growing culture diplomacy for the UAE and its future view. As you all know, the UAE or the United Arab Emirates aims to become a global soft superpower, including the huge international influence that it has, and the soft power of culture and connectivity with its tolerance that strengthen the ties, bonds around the globe. And all of these successful strategies are a reflection of what Sheikh Zayed, God bless his soul, started in 1969, where there were no streets and electricities and water the same as today. He requested to build a museum in a city called Al Ain in UAE to expose the ancient civilization of the Emirates 5,000 years ago. and where at that moment there was a civilization and nation that were living at that region years ago. Also, there is a beautiful story about Sheikh Zayed, God bless his soul. I really want to share it with you all. In the same year, 1969, Sheikh Zayed, he visited Geneva University, and he asked the people who were responsible for cultural diplomacy at that time to go there and enter the university with bands and poets. Do you wonder why he did that? Because he wanted to send a message to the world that UAE is not only a petroleum country, but expose it as a country that has a civilization and culture. So soft power has to do with the country's reputation, the power to move things, the power to change situations, the ability to achieve your goals and objectives using the power of attraction and polarization and your habits, your identity, language, arts, and drama, all the influence that the soft power and that is what we also share in our experience in applying culture diplomacy in our club. So yeah, and that's it. I want also to thank you for giving me the time to speak. I hope I didn't take a long time expressing all my points.
Muchas gracias.
Thank you so much, Mr. Alameri. Now we will hear from Luis Guerra, who is also joining us remote over the internet.
Buenos días, ¿se me oye bien?
Good morning, I hope you can hear me okay? Yes, it's loud and clear. Well, thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. It's a great pleasure being here at this international seminar. I would like to thank, obviously, the City Council of Santander, the Atalayar magazine, Javier, Fernández, Arribas, and José María Peredo, the organizers. Thank you very much for your kind invitation for me to take part. Sorry, there's an echo. I can hear myself, and it's a little bit uncomfortable.
Ya está.
Quizá mejor así ahora. Continúa entonces.
I hope this is better. So, I was originally asked to take part in the seminar today, and I thought of a topic that I feel could be interesting, thinking about cities in the 21st century, how to better exchange cultures, and the topic is language landscaping. So I would like to explain to you what that concept is and how they could apply to cities like Santander, Abu Dhabi, cities that are probably very rich from the point of view of languages. It is a very unusual autumn this year, so let me ask you to stop and watch this language landscape. What do we mean by that? Well, it's going to a public area and stopping and listening to what is being said. The words, stopping and seeing what you can hear at a train station, at a bus stop, whether it's hearing or seeing words in what languages in our cities. Because those words in different languages give us a very good clue of cultural diversity, cultural peaceful coexistence, to what extent. This is a very new area, dating back to 1997, where two Canadian researchers started with this discipline. Over time, this area has been studied in different areas worldwide. And in 1977, the language policy document for the city of Jerusalem was also a very interesting case, with Hebrew, English, and Arabic being present in the city. That was the background, really, originally. And then it has to do, obviously, a lot with anthropology, with semiotics, with linguistics, with geography, with migration linguistics, and globalization linguistics, which are two areas where I have researched over time. So, I would like to tell you a little bit about language landscapes in Spain, in some Spanish cities, and maybe in the cities that you are tackling here today. So, looking at Spain, we have different language situations. Areas in Spain where one single language is spoken, normally Spanish, is spoken, and there might be a little bit of some other languages, maybe the international language English, or minority languages, or minoritized languages, we might call them, because, not many people speak them, but it's because politically they have been diminished over time. So let's imagine an area of Spain without a lot of, without a large migrant population, without a great deal of tourism. That would be the case, right? With a little English here and there. There might be a little bit of Arabic or maybe Chinese. Right. The second scenario or situation would be autonomous communities in Spain where there are two official languages, that is Spanish, together with other languages that are official, for instance, Galician in Galicia, Basque in the Basque Autonomous Community, Catalan in Catalonia, and so on. We're particularly interested in those the third type would be the most interesting type for us, which would be multilingual landscapes. Those would be areas of Spain where a number of different languages coexist with the official language or languages. And why is that the case? Well, because there might be a migrant community or a number of migrant communities that use them, whether it is Arabic or Chinese in many Spanish cities, plus international languages because of tourism. So migration and globalization with tourism would be the two main cases in our country. Logically, we would hear in those landscapes or see English, Japanese, French, German, whatever, on top of what we mentioned for scenario number 2. Those would be the three main types of landscape that we find in Spain at the moment. I said, as a researcher, I'm particularly interested in multilingual language landscapes because they're the best example of peaceful coexistence of languages and cultures in public spaces as a way to also portray and experience culture. Let me give you this example. This is Juan José Pérez del Molino Street. Apologies, but the sound went. We'll be back with you as soon as the sound is resumed. I don't know if you can see there how this is a shop with a notice, both in Spanish. Excuse me, I think you're covering the microphone. So that would be a case. Sorry, you can't hear me. Okay, can you? Now we can. So this is a language or linguistic landscape that shows that part of the community in that city is Arabic speaking. That's why we see those posters and notices, and they do so not just in Arabic in their shop, but both in Arabic and in Spanish. A shop that could be a halal butcher's, where they only serve meat that's slaughtered in a particular way. So again, that landscape shows that that language and culture is living in peaceful coexistence by the looks of things with other languages. Sometimes messages are not private, but given by public institutions. It might be a city council or a regional government that sends a message for people in a particular area, and they communicate, in that case, sometimes in just one language, but in quite a lot of cases in a number of different languages. Messages can also be connected with publicity, with advertising, at shopping centers, advertisements, where information is given not just in Spanish, but also in English, French, Chinese, sometimes in very local languages, just because that language has a high use in that area. Another interesting situation are graffiti and tags or advertisements which are stuck or glued on street lamps or public areas, advertising for where they propose with their telephone number that they want to work. So, whether the message is top-down, like the case of institutions to citizens, or bottom-up, like the advertisements glued by private individuals in the street. Those two are present, those very different situations. Sometimes messages are addressed to very specific target groups. Sometimes they're more general. And there are times when those messages have a clear symbolic value. Why? Because it tells us that in that particular area, a number of different cultures and communities are living together, so that adds complexity to that area. And also, when we see a language represented in the landscape, it doesn't just mean that there are speakers of that language in the area, but also speakers who want to make it known they're there. They want to show their identity. Another interesting element is that language landscapes change over time. They're dynamic. Just like landscape changes over time in a geographic area. The social elements, the identity elements change over time then in language landscapes. And we can get a lot of information from those languages about residents, about visitors, about all those people who are present in the global cities of the 21st century. Let me just give you an example of this dynamic language landscape. In the city of Madrid, the studies that were done before the 80s, really Madrid was very one single language spoken there. Spanish was clearly the language, with a little bit of presence of international languages like English or French. Well, since the 1980s, and more so now in the 21st century, Madrid has become a multilingual urban landscape. A study from 2010 by Mónica Castillo and Saez from the Complutense University, my university, they gathered information from 2009 and 2010 in areas of Madrid, shopping centers, neighborhoods like Tetuán, different districts with a large presence of migrant populations, also in large transport hubs like Atocha station. Well, they found around 30 languages being present. And experts now talk about super diversity to define small urban districts with a large amount of different ethnic groups and cultural backgrounds and languages and habits. And the case of Madrid, well, we would find a situation like that in the neighborhood of Lavapiés, where in just a few blocks we can find some 40 different languages in that language landscape. Can you imagine the different cultures and peculiarities present in that very, very small area? That's a very common situation, more and more so in the 21st century modern cities. Then we have different times in history with different language landscapes, and urban landscapes of the 21st century, again, are more and more about multilingual diversity. And I was thinking about what the ambassador said during his introduction. Dubai, for instance, with some 80% expats, with over 200 nationalities being present. Well, that would be a very interesting language landscape to cover, to study. And we don't have information about the language landscape in the city of Santander at a time like now, when culture has been promoted for some time, with more visitors to the city. Maybe in the city of Santander, it wouldn't be so much the case for migrant communities, which are not very much represented, not particularly present, but definitely for multilingual communications with tourists, with visitors, with the international approach that Santander is taking more and more. Well, that's all from me for the moment. I don't know if there will be time at the end of the roundtable session for questions or comments. I hope that you found language landscapes interesting and how much they could contribute to cities like those that you're covering during your seminar. I will be very happy to answer questions or comments later on. Thank you so much, Luis Guerra. And we will next hear from Roberto Ruiz Sauces, our last speaker for this roundtable session. Good morning. Thank you very much for allowing me to be here for this seminar. Because I was born in Santander, I was a student at university here, and then I was working for over 20 years outside Spain, in fact. As Santander is very much an open city, a very fresh ground for new possibilities and experiences. And I think that's similar to the United Arab Emirates, where culture, teaching, education, all those values are basic for building bridges. Public diplomacy and cultural diplomacy does that precisely. Build bridges connecting cultures that might seem very much afar, both geographically and in every other sense. I would like to remind you that thinking about the United Arab Emirates and other countries, Santander could be a great opportunity. Why? Well, we heard from my colleague, Luis Guerra. He was talking about language landscape. Well, I like talking about people landscape. And the city of Santander has proved historically that it's always been open-minded to new ways of thinking. And good evidence of that is the Menéndez Pelayo International University that has been a meeting point for culture and knowledge for many, many years now. So, again, Santander has been building bridges and can continue to do so, also because of its cultural and natural heritage. Our chairman reminded us that this city and area has an amazing asset, cave paintings, prehistoric art in our region, and with the backing of UNESCO for these cave paintings that might date back 15,000 years. Santander is a city that has tourism, that is safe, that has the most beautiful summers, that is peaceful and calm. And I'm from Santander originally, but I'm also fully convinced that Santander can be a meeting point for the United Arab Emirates. For over 20 years, I've been Pro-Vice-Chancellor and Vice-Chancellor in a number of universities in Latin America. And I wanted to tell you how we worked with the International Cooperation Agency so that better bridges, stronger bridges could be built between Spain and Latin America for education, for knowledge transfer, and for culture. Because people know that culture doesn't hurt you, doesn't kill you. Culture helps you understand better. And I think the United Arab Emirates, with its diplomacy, its international relations, has been a fantastic example of peaceful coexistence, harmony in their own grounds and far away, forgetting about old grudges and enemies. We can't continue to confront cultures and civilizations. We can't push one religion against the other. And I think that public diplomacy has proven that those links can be built if we have strong bridges. I'm proposing then for Santander to be a meeting point and the port where the Arab Emirates can stop, also because of the Spanish language. We've heard from the previous speaker and from Mohamed Alameri about why and how Spanish is a global language, how the UAE Hispanic Club has been promoted, and not just for Spanish and Latin American literature, which undoubtedly is one of the pillars of Western culture, but also for common everyday language. And Spanish language and Spanish linguistics are interesting because Spanish is very practical language to learn because of its almost 400 million speakers, because of its diversity, and as Mr. Mohamed Alameri said, being fluent in Spanish brings you closer to all those speakers, and it helps you communicate more effectively in different areas and walks of life. Mr. Noriega said very rightly that our university is very young, only 8 years old, but we go back some 30 years in the preparation for the university. We are now present in 30 different languages, and our center here in Santander is one of the youngest to join the club. Some 35% of our students are international students. Why? Because we stand for multiculturality, for super diversity, as Luis said, in a very small microcosm, because we only have some 14,000 students, and 10,000 of them attend classes online, and round about 4,200 attend face-to-face courses. Again, that diversity is enriching. It brings us close to different points of view, and so that we can appreciate that diversity. And Santander has all those elements necessary to do it right, because of its public university, its distance university, the International Menéndez and Pelayo University, and now our small contribution from the European University of the Atlantic. We want to contribute to science, to culture, also with countries like the Arab countries that we don't have a lot of links with at the moment. And I must say, I found the ambassador's speech particularly revealing. He told us how technology, development, art, culture has been promoted at the UAE from the point of view of diversity. This country in the Persian Gulf is now standing for values that would have been unthinkable in that area of the world just a few years ago. And just thinking that the UAE has thought of the city of Santander and is considering the city of Santander as a place to collaborate with, well, that shouldn't be wasted. To help us improve who knows what, mobility in our city, language and culture, both of Spanish over there or Arabic over here. And in my case, as a sociologist and an anthropologist, I find it fantastic just thinking how this could help better integration of people from other communities who live here with us. We don't have a very large amount of migrant people with us. Mostly those who are here with us come from Eastern Europe or Latin America, Colombia, Peru, Dominican Republic. Those would be the countries that are more present in our migrant community right now in Santander. So, what can we contribute as public diplomats or people who work with public democracy or cultural democracy? Well, we have a lot of experience of our connections with cultural centers, with museums, with experts in dissemination of heritage. Because if we don't let people know about our heritage, if we don't disseminate that knowledge, if we don't manage heritage and culture properly, then we're not doing our work right. And to do it right, the main ingredient has been mentioned both by the ambassador and our daily mayor. Well, the main element is an interest initially from public institutions to make it work, to establish a link. Then other public institutions and public sector and individuals will follow suit or should follow suit. And this seminar is an excellent example of all those elements being present. So I would say this is a fantastic start. That's why I'm particularly happy and satisfied to be here today, sharing this fresh start for this opportunity in a city like Santander, which is again fresh ground for new bridges to be built with areas of the world that are very different and very similar to us. I'm sure we will find those meeting points and exploit them. Thank you so much. Thank you, Roberto Ruiz Salces. And let's see if during the Q&A session we can move forward in bridges to be built. There's a question here for Mr. Mohamed Alameri, because he said that Spanish is the second widest spoken language worldwide, a fantastic tool to be able to communicate with all those millions of people. When you explain this to your students, what do they think? And do you think they would come here to Santander to perfect their Spanish?
No he oído. Sí. Bien, pues.
It looks like he's not connected at the moment, so let me just get another question ready. We can repeat the question to... Oh yes, here's Mr. Alameri. Mr. Alameri, did you hear the question that was sent for you?
¿Nos oye?
Mr. Alameri, can you hear us? Yes? Hello, can you hear us, Mr. Alameri? I don't know if you can hear us or if your mic has been activated, your microphone.
Yes. Señor Alameri, le pregunto.
Right, I'll repeat the question for you then. During your presentation, you mentioned that Spanish is the second widest spoken language worldwide, and how it's a fantastic tool for your students to communicate with all those millions of people. What do they think when you explain that to them? And do you think they would be happy to come to Santander to perfect their Spanish?
Okay, I think you can hear me now. So, as you said, based on the opportunities that has been exposed from your side about Santander and how tolerant is the people there, there will be a big opportunity that we're going to have exchange students between Santander universities and the students in UAE. And yeah, we can cooperate in these things. And of course, our members have joined the club because they are really interested in the Spanish language, and they are really interested in the culture and the beauty of it. And there will be a big opportunity and a big chance for them to be part of Santander community as a students or visitors.
Para Luis Guerra.
A question now for Luis Guerra. Next. Can you hear us, Mr. Guerra? You were telling us about language landscapes. How do you think that area that study can help peaceful coexistence. Luis, can you hear us? Can you hear us, Luis? Yes, I can. Did you hear our question? Sorry, I didn't hear the question. Right, here comes the question again. You explained how language landscape works, but how can it help peaceful coexistence, do you think? Well, sociolinguistics. Yes, we can hear you, Luis. There seems to be a lag in the sound, but you can hear me okay? Yes? Right, sorry, I'm getting the sound with a lag in time. So, what sociolinguistics explains is that language landscapes give us clues and information about cultural exchange, and because of that, with that information, we could then devise better policies for successful integration.
Bien. Le hacemos una pregunta.
Right then, we have a question next for Roberto Ruiz. You were telling us at the end of your presentation how important dissemination of heritage is, being active and proactive in disseminating that knowledge and giving information about that heritage. How can that be managed right? Well, there has been an efficient way of working with heritage and culture dissemination for some 30 years now. But there have not been common criteria for everyone to follow. For instance, there have been times when refurbishment and reconstruction of sites were the most important part. Well, it has been varying and changing over time. And the current situation is that it's very, very multidisciplinary, with lots of different experts in different areas, and one common strategy. That's been the improvement. So, studying what heritage wants to be disseminated, what target audiences, how to do it better, whether it's an exhibition center, the Botín Center, the cave paintings in Ramales de la Victoria, a museum. Well, I mentioned that cave because I visited it just a few weeks ago. So all of that has changed in cultural management, covering all the whole of that chain, gathering the information, protecting the heritage, working with education as well and training, and doing so being very, very efficiently. We have to remember that dissemination and giving value to the resources we have should be at the heart of that management. And it cannot be short-term, it cannot be short-lived, but long-term collaboration between the public institutions and the private sector. And there are fantastic examples in the region of Cantabria here, where the mass media, the institutions, private companies have been collaborating for this to work. So, cultural management diplomacy right now is over and everything else multidisciplinary throughout the chain, again, from the gathering of information, target audiences, dissemination, management, and so on. Right, I have here more questions ready. The next one for Mr. Mr. Mohamed Alameri. How can better collaboration between cultures and understanding among cultures, how can it help language learning? And also, because diplomacy is not very present right now in Spain, how could Spain be a better bridge between the Emirates and Latin America?
Actually, language and culture is connected to each other, and understanding the culture of other community and building a bridge between Spain and UAE is, let's say, a two-party work or job work, which is it needs that the both of the two communities understand each other's culture and understand the values, what the community do and what the community like and what the community dislike, what's prohibited in that community and what's not prohibited, what's the most usual activities that they have done and what's their holidays and when is even the small details in language could have a big changing situations, because not being able to understand these smaller or bigger values will, let's say, will create a gap between the two communities. But instead of learning these values will build up all of these gaps between the two communities. And at the end, respect and acceptance and tolerance is the most three common things, let's say, that will strengthen the bridge between Spain and UAE. And of course, I believe from my visit to Spain last time, Spain nation and Spain people are very tolerant and very accepting to the other cultures and to the other languages. And they are even more interested to learn other languages. And, we have seen in Madrid, there's Casa, where they are showing the Arabic culture. And we have seen many people who are interested in and being a part of that place. So I believe there is intentions from Spanish community that they are really interested to know more about UAE, to know more about Abu Dhabi, Dubai, and other Emirates. And it just needs, let's say, like a very small flame of fire, and to turn it on and to light up this bridge between Spain and UAE. And of course, as I said from the beginning, understanding very well the cultural values will lead to understand more of the language. And Santander will be our next, let's say, destination that we will focus more in showing its attractions and showing its beauty to our members. And all of these, if we will merge it up, it will just end up by, as you said, a strong bridge between UAE and Spain. And one of our goals also to have trips to Spain, as I have done. I have done some of them in January and February, but unfortunately, COVID-19 was stronger enough to stop these trips. But we didn't stop. We have done some virtual sharing of these attractions in Spain to our members. We will keep getting back to these goals, and we will keep doing more of visitors to Spain and Santander, and we will let people know also more about UAE. We will let, of course, our doors in UAE is open, and our nation in UAE and our people are more tolerant and accepted to other cultures. And we have noticed that because once we have opened or established the club, we have seen many interested people joining our club. And the number is keeping increasing by hundreds till it reach more than 1,000. And that's, let's say, a mark that shows that people are willing to know more about the cultures, the two cultures, the UAE and the Spain.
De acuerdo. Para
Fantastic. Now a question next.
Our part in the club, you mentioned the Latin America or the other Spanish countries, the other Spanish-speaking countries. Our goals also, Spanish language is a very big and wide language. So our job is to distinguish between even the accents and the dialects between the language from south of Spain and from other Hispanic countries. We really take care about these details because we don't want to, as I said from the beginning from my speech, we don't want to have any small misunderstanding. We want to have zero error deliverables to our members and community. And that's what also supposed to be done when people know and understand about the UAE community and the UAE culture and language, which is Arabic.
De acuerdo.
Great, thank you very much. Now the next question is for Luis Guerra. Let's see if Luis can hear us. Luis, can you hear us okay? Yes, I can. We have a question for you. When you talk about language landscapes, you were talking about cities. But can we try and imagine a language landscape map for the whole of Spain, and what would it look like? But are we talking about languages, co-official languages in Spain? No, not in particular. In general, of all the languages that are heard and seen in Spain, whether they're autochthonous or not. Well, we have plenty of information connected with migrant communities and tourists. Well, 2020 is a very different year for tourists in Spain, unfortunately. So we do have initial studies for some areas. For instance, the cities like Madrid or Valencia, Seville, the Balearic Islands. So those maps show certain areas in the country that are one single language are represented, but less and less so. More and more we have areas with migrant communities from the Far East, from Eastern Europe, from North Africa and Latin America. Those would be the main sources of migrant communities at the moment in the world, in Spain. So we have our own autochthonous languages in Spain, 4 of them. And then there are very multilingual landscape maps in some of the bigger cities, as I said, with migrant communities, mostly from Eastern Europe, North Africa, Latin America. Well, it also depends. For instance, in the Balearic Islands, there's a lot of German spoken because of Germans having their second homes there. And in fact, local newspapers include a couple of pages fully in German. Or in the White Coast of Spain, the eastern coast, English is very widely spoken, again because of tourists in general, or also because of British people having their second homes there, with a lot of information being published also in English. Again, the language landscape in Spain ranges from monolingual areas, less and less so, very multilingual cities, areas in Spain with a low migration rate or low number of tourists, a small number of tourists. And this information started thanks to information gathered back in the 1960s, at the time with autochthonous languages and dialects. That's how this started. The next question is for Roberto Ruiz. You were talking about dissemination of culture, but not as if you were doing propaganda. So how can this be done in an independent manner? Well, I think a number of cases have proven that it can be done right. How? Well, with public institutions paving the way and preparing the regulations and basic conditions so that other people can then act. Because private initiative should contribute to a rational use of heritage. Why? Because public institutions are often very slow, very bureaucratic, slow at decision making. And because of that, once the regulatory framework is clear, then private sector brings a lot of positive elements, whether it's for heritage preservation and dissemination and education and training, because in Spain, most of the heritage is in rural areas, and a lot of what we can do with that heritage needs the local population to contribute. We cannot expect for just public institutions to do everything about heritage. Again, in rural areas, schools could and should collaborate with universities so that there is a good management of cultural and natural heritage. And when I say management, I mean smart management, not exploitation, obviously. Well, unfortunately, looking at the time, we're going to have to close the roundtable session, having heard how Mohamed Alameri reminded us that culture and language can achieve something that politics can't in a society that's healthy and sound. Luis Guerra opened our eyes to public spaces and languages represented, how that can help for better integration. And Roberto Ruiz reminded us how an open society that is permanently changing and willing to change, like society in Santander and Cantabria, how that can contribute. So I would like to thank all of the speakers, logically, the City Council of Santander, the wonderful Magdalena Palace. I would like to thank Atalayar, the directors, Jose Maria Peredo and Javier González Arribas, and I would like to thank all of you who followed us today during the roundtable session. Thank you for your attention. Thank you so much, Iñigo. That was a fantastic roundtable session. We've thoroughly enjoyed it. I was talking to some people now, both Mohamed, Alameri, Luis Guerra, and Roberto Ruiz. And obviously, Iñigo Noriega chairing the session has helped. So now we are going to clean everything as we should for health and safety measures in the COVID situation. And after that, we will have a coffee break and be back with you shortly with a second roundtable session, chaired by Teresa Diez Martin. Anyhow, those of you who are following us on streaming, we are stopping just very, very shortly for 3-4 minutes. And unfortunately, this will be the end of the interpretation into English. Thank you.